my wife and we drive through the same place, to go to our favorite places, and we start seeing businesses close. And we both give our ideas why. She's very good at understanding like what a good service around a business, and I nerd out around like the money part, right? But I was going, yeah, babe. Like a lot of these businesses are closing because like all the money we printed over the last couple of decades is flowing through the system, and a lot of them don't even own the real estate. And if you don't own the real estate, you take all those expenses in because specifically the ones that we're passing through are ones that are like prime real estate, right? So if you're in that location, you're going to get your lunch eaten, right? Because that's going to be passed on to you. How does this matter? Today, Alice and I are talking about like the fact that if you run a business, you have to pay attention to uh, currencies, commodities, global flows, and inflation, right? You cannot not afford to do that anymore. Let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by Rife Martin CPA, the smartest CPA team in Texas. And Texas is the best place to live in the world. And so by default, they're the best CPAs in the
Ex
world.
well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I think this will be a fun one because, especially as we think of FIFA being, the World Cup being in the United States right now, no man is an island, and seeing all of the various soccer teams come here certainly proves that.
Absolutely, yes. I like the energy. It's some good fun energy. Soccer season is my new favorite sports season.
And I don't even know how to play or what I'm supposed to be excited about it, but man, it's fun to watch.
It definitely is. So why should a business that only serves the local community care about money flows and inflation? You want to start or you want me to start?
Well, I'll actually say, why should you care? Businesses, in order to compete in the marketplace, you have to care about global money because a lot of our tax or more and more taxpayers, business owners in particular, are expanding their reach not outside of the United States to serve customers in Europe. Uh, Asia. I mean, like you need to pay attention to that. In addition, a lot of businesses are also offshoring their services so that they can get, again, to compete in the global marketplace. It's really important. If not, you're going to be stuck.
Mm-hmm. And I explain it simply this way. I go, all right. So last 40 years, there was a marriage between China and America consummated by European money system. They're going through a divorce, a nasty
Yeah.
divorce, an ugly divorce. And anybody who's watched the divorce or experienced the divorce, you realize that it gets expensive. Like you go from two households sharing expenses to now you got two houses, two utility bills, right? Like it's expensive, right? Like it was efficient. Now there's more peace, so they take the expense for the peace, right? There's more independence, right? But like it's expensive, right? And we're going through a divorce. Supply chains are changing, and so as a business, like yeah, you want to pay attention to it because like your cost, we're not even paying people the rate they should be paid, right? Currently, and we're in the beginning of the divorce, right? So like these are costs. So as a business owner, you got to think about that, and then you got to think about your whole balance sheet because parts of it is you're making money, right? Are you making enough money, right? Which that's where Allison and her team helps with cost structure and making sure you're efficient with that and make sure you're investing in the right place. But then also you have a balance sheet, and if your balance sheet is sitting earning 0% in a checking account, right, or earning whatever they pay you in the savings account, like nothing, you know. Your treasury, if your business treasury is not growing faster than the economy, and listen, the American economy is about to grow fast. I watch the money move through the system. Like ignore the headlines. The economy at the real level is seeing real gains, and it's going to pick up. So it's going to grow. And if your money is not growing more than that growth, right, then it's losing value, right? So you have to pay attention to this stuff.
I agree with that one. So, anyway, I very much agree. You have to pay attention, or uh, you're going to be left behind. And again, you'll be one of those businesses that you were driving through your favorite town seeing close because they weren't paying attention.
Absolutely. The second question: how do you actually build a big league cash strategy for a business that isn't a giant corporation yet?
Well, I like your comment that you treat your extra cash like an employee. You don't just ignore it.
I like I like that. I like to think about money like an employee.
I've never actually thought of it that way, but I think that's a really good way what can you do to make them valuable to help you? Because that's why you bring employees on board is to help you grow your business.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, because I think about like my like treasury bills or cash, like even something as simple as okay, J.P. Morgan doesn't want to pay interest. They want to argue about stablecoins shouldn't be able to pay interest to the people. Fine, like forget them. Let Caesar have Caesar's thing. What can you do? You can set up a Schwab brokerage account or whatever Fidelity brokerage account. There's a fund called this is not investment advice. There's a fund called SHV. It's a treasury bond fund. Guess what? They pay you all the interest, right? Now they pay you all the interest. It's what your checking account owns. Like it's what backs your checking and savings account. Just put your cash there, and then you can like sell the fund and in 2 days have cash, right? So maybe have that's that's easy way to just reallocate cash from the bank to a brokerage account, hold it in treasuries directly, right? And then get the interest, right? That's like step one, right? You got other things you can put in there, different bond funds, right? That pay a little bit more over time, right? You got preferred stock, but if you say, oh man, other corporations they own gold, they own Bitcoin for like longer term money, right? S&P 500 indexes, right? You can with a brokerage account, you can do the same thing that corporations can do, right? You may need like a chief investment officer like me to help you think about timing your cash flow. So I might say, all right, when are you going to need what cash where? Here's how you structure your portfolio in a way where you don't have cash interruptions. But you can run a treasury for your business. As a matter of fact, you should run a treasury for your business, right? All you need is a chief investment officer
yeah,
and a good CPA.
I actually have to agree because again, in order to be able to compete, you have to have the resources to do it. Protect your cash as an employee. I mean, that's the best way to do it. So, and again, you should always be thinking, again, with a great financial advisor, you too can think, how do I have, at least 6 months of cash on hand to cover, or enough cash on hand to cover at least 6 months of operating expenses. That's a great way to do it is to work with, that's the big league strategy that you're thinking about.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a great new world. What kind of cash management tools are out there where local owners might not know about? I guess we kind of just said that, right? We kind of just gave.
Sometimes Excel.
That's a great one, right? Especially with AI.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was gonna say, Claude, and again, that's just one that you can use, or even Chat GPT can help create something where you can say, in 6 months, I want to have $1 billion, and I have a dollar. What do I do? They can come up with solutions, or you can say, I want to be able to invest in treasury bills or things like that. I mean, how do you use it?
yeah, yeah. So no, I'm gonna give the disclaimer, right? You want to make sure whatever you feed to
These tools.
these cloud-based models that you don't mind sharing, right? So I tend to limit to I don't give it specifics on this is my balance sheet of company. It's like sample financial plans, right?
It,
You can run it. You can buy a Mac Mini and run a local LLM, where it can just basically run the calculations locally um, and do this for you. But if you run it on a cloud-based one, just don't give it information you don't want it to have and keep it generic. But like what you said, yeah, like you can put it in there and you can say, hey, this how much cash the business has now. Here are my expenses. Here's my revenue. Kind of run out a conservative cash flow projection, so I can know where I'll be each month for the next 5 years, roughly, right? And then you can model different. You can kind of see how your cash buildup goes, and then you can say, oh, okay, now I can afford to maybe, if I were to save, you know, some of this cash into a bucket that could earn 20% a year, like Bitcoin, right? How much might I have in 5 years? And then you run that, right? And then you go, oh man, and you can play with it all different kind of ways, right? These are things that I do for, for clients, and for myself. But the cash, it's not hard to run a cash management tool. All you gotta do is know how to talk. Because you used to have to learn how to build an Excel spreadsheet. Now you can just tell Claude to build it for you, or tell Gemini to build it for you, right?
Right.
I don't like OpenAI, just personally. That's a personal bias, so I don't use them. But whatever, they got good models too.
Yeah. But it is, but you bring up a good point. First off, I mean, I do want to echo, you have to be sure you're conscientious of what you're sharing, because putting in there, because it you're it opens up a whole host of issues that you don't want to get into. So make it generic, make sure it's nothing that you would be worried about sharing. But two, it's just a tool. You can't check your brain at the door. So you need to make sure that you already, like you're saying, you used to build it in Excel. Well, now you're telling somebody else to build it for you. So you have to make sure you're being thoughtful about how you're putting it together.
Yeah, and I think it's very useful for somebody who might be intimidated before talking to like a me or you. I'd be like, hey, like, play with it. And I think it's smart to bring it to your CPA or wealth manager to like double check and verify the numbers, right? But you'll be shocked that you'll be like, you 90% there. Tweak that, tweak this, change it around, flip it. That 10% that we bring is like infinite, right? Because we got like decades of compute.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. And I think too, coming in with it makes it for a more productive conversation too. If
hmm
you've already put it 90% of the way there, at least I will know what your ultimate goal is, because you kind of helped put it in a story for me.
Absolutely. Let everybody know how they can reach you if they want to come tell you their story, so you can help them rewrite their script to more money.
You can reach me at my website, rifemartincpa.com, or you can email me at info@rifemartinaccounting.com. And I think it'd be a fun topic. This was a good one.
Thanks, Allison.
Philip Washington Jr. is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.